Alright folks, I haven't made a work video in quite some time, dealing with all this coronavirus and my racing going on, but I wanted to take this time to show you the proper way of installing a yard hydrant. So when you get a yard hydrant, make sure you get one with a metal head. Don't buy a cheap plastic head. And also these little cams right here, you can see that, how that has that space. So this will wear out and this shaft will stop working. It won't shut off all the way because that wears out. So when you do assemble these, make sure you just push some silicone grease in there, some spray grease or something, just to keep it lubricated. And the life of this brass cam will last a lot longer if you lube it up. So we come up here, and what I recommend is a brass 90. And the reason we do this is because back in the day, the plastic will crack right here. So you go ahead and don't do a straight fitting like this, because you're just going to have to put an elbow below it to get your pipe to go away. So get you a 3/4 inch threaded by 3/4 inch barb. Then you're going to use about 3 to 4 feet of flexible black roll pipe. Put 2 clamps on it right here, and do not allow the base of the clamp to face the bottom. You always want the clamp up here, and I'll show that to you in a second. And then on this end, we're going to come over here and we're going to put a stainless steel fitting here, not plastic, always metal, because then this can break. The reason why we're doing this is flexible. It's not like PVC hard pipe. A lot of times people will accidentally hit these once they're put in the ground, and you know, if it's hard piped, it's going to break. With this stuff here, we've had excellent result. You know, probably 10, 12, 15 years before you have to replace it. And the only reason you have to replace it is because of the cams on the head. So we're going to go ahead, put this all together. I'll show you the finished product, and then we're going to install it. Okay, so I've got it all finished and completed. There's a few things that I want to go over about why, and you know, why I do the things I do. The clamps, if you're going to do this, be sure when you look at them, they say all SS. That means the band, the bolt, and the clamp are all stainless steel. No part of that is not stainless. So sometimes the band will be stainless, but the nut won't, and then it'll rust out. So we want to make sure we have all stainless steel clamps. And when you clamp them on, notice how I have the heads of the clamp facing up. Don't have the heads of the clamp under here, because if you ever have to replace this unit, then you won't be able to get to the clamps. You'll have to dig such a big massive hole over here just to get your wrench down here to unloosen them. You put them up here to where you can come straight at you know, from up top, and you can undo them. That way the weight of this unit also isn't resting on the clamps themselves. Now you have a nice clean finished bottom. What we're going to do when we put this in, we're going to put this much gravel from here down, put a little bit of dirt on top of the gravel, and then we're going to put a little bit of cement on top of the dirt. That will allow this bleeder valve here to allow this entire tube to drain. So that's what we're going to do next. Alright, so I'm out here at the job. It's basically my house. I'm putting the yard hydrant in at my own home. So what we have here is a hand dug rock well. It's 30 feet deep. Water level is all the way up to 15 feet. And then we have an old pit right here where they put the controls. So my drilled well is right there, trenched over, comes in right over there. I just put in this brand new pressure tank, plumbed it up. I've got a large filter there, it goes there, and it goes to my house. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in a new submersible pump down in this well and have the other tank here, and then I'm gonna come out of the wall and put me a yard hydrant somewhere out here next to this big giant tree. Here's the old well pump that came out. I didn't even check to see if it was good. It's a 1986 model, and you can tell it was only in the ground about 30 feet. So we're gonna put a brand new one in it and hook it all up. All right, we've got the pump all put together. It's taped all the way up. We come up here, we've got enough wire to go to our pressure switch. Went ahead and wrapped some rope around this. I put a brass 90 here to where, because plastic will break if it ever stresses, so we're gonna go ahead and put metal on it. And then I tied a couple knots in the rope and then slid the rope under the clamp, tightened it down, that way the rope will never come off, just as a safety. So we're gonna go ahead and drop it in the hole. Okay, so here we are I went ahead and did this by hand because most people, you know, they don't have equipment, so I did it the way everyone else has to do it. So I'm just taking it this far. As you can see, we're going to go ahead and put some gravel down in the bottom of the hole, put a little bit of dirt on top of it, and then we're going to put a 40-pound bag of Sackcrete right on top of that dirt, and then cover the rest up. And then you come in here, we're going to go ahead and hook that end up right there over to that T. And what I did, I also tied it in. If you can tell, that T that goes into the other line down below, that is to where if my drilled well only makes about 3/4 of a gallon a minute, 300 foot deep, so it can run dry. If that happens, all I got to do is come here and open that green handled valve, and I can take the water from this old drilled well here, and or that old hand dug well, and feed my house with it. But for right now, we've got the pressure switch there, the tank here. It's going to come out, hook up to that, and this will be the only spigot that runs off the hand dug well. So the first thing we're going to do is dump our gravel down in there. Actually, we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of dirt at the bottom, cover those clamps up. Need to raise the level of that a little bit. We're going to try to cover the pipe up a little bit, so we don't want any of the cement getting on the pipe. Okay, now we're going to dump our gravel in, and the gravel covers up the little valve at the bottom. So then all we got to do is put dirt on top of this, just a little bit. I've been fighting tree roots out here like crazy, so I stopped at 16 inches. Frost line in Virginia really never meets past about 8 inches, so. All right, so we got a little bit of dirt on top of the gravel. Now we're gonna put our bag of Sackcrete on it. Okay, so we have our 40-pound bag of Quikrete, and I went over here and I built a little kind of a dirt dam right there that will keep the Sackcrete where it's supposed to be. Okay, it's in the ground. I'll bend that up where it needs to go. Just kind of pack that in with your feet, spread it out. And take a step back, make sure it's level. Looks good. Looks good. There's still enough to where we can put dirt there, and it won't look like concrete down below it. And all I do is pour the bag in dry, because if you liquefy it and mix it up in a wheelbarrow and pour it in there, it cures a lot stronger. And then if you ever have to replace this, the concrete is terrible to bust off of there. So pouring it in dry, once you hook it up, all you got to do is lift your handle, and then the water will soak down into the ground, and then it'll make the concrete wet without mixing it, and it'll set up all on its own. So from here, we're just going to go ahead and plumb it up and cover it up, and I'll show you how it works. Alright folks, wanted to show you it's all hooked up, everything's covered up right there. Down in here we've got that pipe right there, comes across out of the old hand dug well to the T, goes to the pressure switch, goes down and into the tank. It goes out to that T to the 90, and through the wall. And I'm going to take some spray foam that in, just to keep the dirt from coming in. And then I can also open up that valve and send it to the house if this system over here ever shuts down. And all I'm doing is robbing power off of the switch there and running it over to that switch. So both well pumps are running off the same double 20 breaker in the basement, but you know, very rarely are both pumps going to cut on at the same time. So we come over here, this will be the first time. There's your water. We're going to go like this. We're going to try to wet the ground around it. that'll help get some water down there on the Sac Creek. And if you think this thing got, watch the pressure that comes out of this. Massive amounts of pressure. If you do this at your house, you can find your water line, dig down, put two 90s in it, and put a T in it, and hook up one of these yard hydrants. Just remember to dig away a few feet and put a flexible 3/4 inch line on it. You can do 1 inch, but 3/4 inch is really all you need, because believe it or not, that's a 1 inch pipe right here, and inside of it is a 1/4 inch rod. So it's really only 3/4 inches. That rod right there, that brass rod, goes all the way down to the bottom, and there's a valve in the bottom. The valve is what shuts off, and then it allows the water inside this to drain out. So that's about it. I'm happy with it. I gotta clean up before this storm hits. But thank y'all for watching. Hopefully coronavirus will go away and we can get back to making some racing videos. But until then, I'll make a few more work videos and share my knowledge on this subject. Thank y'all for watching.